everybody, welcome back to my channel, The Eclectic Reader. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Fariba, and on this channel I talk about a wide range of books that I have been reading and loving. My favorite types of books are cozy mysteries, historical fiction, and nonfiction, particularly history, and books about wildlife. So today I wanted to talk about the various challenges that I will be participating in the month of March. So I will be participating in 3 challenges. The first is the Booktube spin. Now, I did make a video where I talked about the books that I was hoping I would be able to read for the spin, and the book was Julian of Norwich, Theologian by Dennis Turner. Now, this is a book about the 14th century mystic Julian of Norwich and how she is a theologian, according to Turner. And I've read Dennis Turner's book on Thomas Aquinas, so I really look forward to reading this book. The challenge was announced in January, but we have until the end of March to read it, which is why I'm saying that I'm participating in the Booktube spin in March. And then the second challenge I will be participating in is March Mystery Madness. Now, this is the challenge that I will be the most in on because I love mysteries, as I have mentioned. I really like cozy mysteries, but also not so cozy mysteries. Cozy mysteries are just much easier to unwind to at the end of the day. For March Mystery Madness, I will be reading 3 cozy mysteries and 1 not so cozy mystery. So for the cozy mystery, I will be reading Murder Wears White, which is book 2 of the Wedding Planner mystery by Stephanie Blackmore. Now, I read book 1 for the Cartaginist Book Club. I will link below her channel in February, and I really love the books. I want to really continue with the series. The protagonist, I think her name is Mallory, lives in an enormous house that she inherited from a woman who passed away in the first book. And now, by the end of the first book, this house has become a wedding venue that she is going to run with her sister Rachel. So I really look forward to seeing where the series goes. The second cozy that I will be reading is Matchmaking Can Be Murder, which is book 1 of an Amish matchmaker mystery by Amanda Flower. Millie Fisher is a matchmaker in Harvest, Ohio, which is an Amish community. And at the beginning of the story, she's trying to break up what she sees as a bad relationship between 2 people. She doesn't like the man in this relationship. And then the man is found dead in a greenhouse, and suddenly she becomes a sleuth. And Millie has to figure out why was he killed and by who. I love how Amanda Flower's books all take place in Ohio because I'm from the state of Ohio. And that's what I really liked about her historical museum trilogy. So she has a trilogy that's set in what is essentially Bath, Ohio, in a historical museum. And it's very clear to me that the historical museum is based off of Hale Farm and Village in Bath, Ohio, and I know this place very well because we used to go to field trips a lot at Hale Farm when I was a child. So I really look forward to picking up this first book in what seems to be a very promising series. So I don't usually read books set in Amish communities, but I'm hoping that this one will be a lot of fun. I know that she also has a more paranormal series, but I'm not into paranormal books, so I'm going to read her other stuff first. And then the final cozy that I plan to read is Murder by Page 1, which is book 1 of the Peach Coast Library Mystery Series. Wow, that's a mouthful, by Olivia Matthews. So Olivia Matthews is a Black cozy mystery author. There are very few Black mystery authors and even fewer Black cozy mystery authors. This book's plot is just really interesting. So Marvy is a librarian from Brooklyn, but she now lives in this small town in Georgia. In addition to being a librarian, she also makes bookish knickknacks. But one day she finds a man dead in a bookstore, and then suddenly she becomes a sleuth, and she has to figure out, why is this man dead? Was he murdered? By who? And unfortunately, Marvy's friend is now a suspect, so she wants to clear her friend's name. And then the final mystery that I want to read for this challenge, like I said, is not a cozy, and that's Blackwater Rising. Attica Locke is actually quite a popular mystery writer on Booktube. She's not on Booktube, but her books are read by Booktubers. She is a Black mystery writer as well, And in this series, Jay Porter is a lawyer who is investigating various crimes. Blackwater Rising, I think, examines a civil rights case, and this is about corporate crime. So I really look forward to reading something that's a little bit more hard-boiled. So that's that for March Mystery Madness. And then the final challenge that I will be participating in is Middle Grade March. The first book that I would like to read for that challenge is a book by a pretty classic middle grade author. This is Woodrunner by Gary Paulsen. I was at the used bookstore recently, and my husband found this book because he really liked Gary Paulsen's book Hatchet when he was a child, and I also was assigned that book when I was in middle school. And so he found this one and told me I should read that for Middle Grade March. So Woodrunner is another wilderness survival story, because Gary Paulsen writes those kinds of books. But it takes place in colonial Pennsylvania, and our protagonist is named Samuel. He is 13 years old, and his parents are imprisoned. So it's about how he survives in the woods in colonial Pennsylvania, and there is a war looming. So I'm really looking forward to reading this book. And actually, I will be reading it after I finish the book that I am currently reading, which is not a middle grade book or a mystery, and that's The Golem and the Ginny by Helene Wecker. As you can see, I started it in February and have been absolutely loving this book. It is a literary fantasy. What I mean by that is that it's a historical fantasy that has beautiful writing. It is a very quiet fantasy, but very engrossing. It follows two magical creatures, a golem, which is a creature made of clay. Her name is Chava, and she is created to obey her master, but on his way to Ellis Island, he's trying to come to the United States, he dies, and now Chava doesn't have any kind of master, but she can hear people's desires. And so she's constantly wanting to fulfill their desires. And then there is a Ginny. Now, a Ginny is not created. He is a creature of fire. He suddenly just appears from a kettle that a tinsmith was trying to mend. Unfortunately, a wizard hundreds of years ago had trapped the Ginny in a bottle. Well, not in a bottle, but in a kettle. And now he is trapped in the form of a man, and he wishes that he could be able to shapeshift as he had before, but he's now working for the tinsmith. So I'm really, really loving this book. Like I said, this is not a mystery, it is a fantasy, but once I finish this, I will be moving on to Woodrunner, which, you know, as you can see, I'll be able to read in one sitting. The next middle grade book that I will be reading in March is actually the March pick for the Courtagious Book Club, and that is Premeditated Myrtle, Book 1 of the Myrtle Hardcastle series by Elizabeth Bunce. So a 12-year-old girl named Myrtle Hardcastle is obsessed with criminal science, and she's on a quest to figure out why an eccentric flower breeder has been found dead. So this book is both a mystery and a middle grade book. Perfect for both challenges. And the final middle grade book that I will be reading is a classic, and that is The Secret of Platform 13 by Eva Ibbotson. I read this book when I was a child, and I was obsessed with Eva Ibbotson. I read all of her middle grade books. I don't think I read any of her young adult or adult books. So when I reread this, if I enjoy it, I will reread her entire catalog and also read the books that I didn't get to read in her catalog. So this is a book that did inspire the Harry Potter series. There is a platform that leads into this magical island, and one day the prince on the island goes missing. Turns out he has been kidnapped by someone in London, and now a bunch of magical creatures have to leave their island, go into the city of London, and disguise themselves, obviously, so that they don't get targeted by humans, and retrieve the prince that has been kidnapped. So I'm really looking forward to rereading this book. It has such delightful illustrations. I mean, look at this. This is a centaur. There you go. And this is going to be a lot of fun, I think. And then the very final book that I will be reading is not for any challenge. It is not a mystery, although it was shelved with the mystery books at my local bookstore, and that's The Godfather by Mario Puzo. So I have now watched the first 2 Godfather films, and I have been interested in reading the book ever since. So I really do hope that I will be able to get to that in March. As you can see, I have a lot of books to get to, but most of them are pretty short and fast-paced. Cozies, you know, you can read in a couple sittings, middle grade books as well. So I hope that I can get to all of these books. If you are participating in any of these challenges, tell me which book you are the most excited to get to this month. Thank you everybody for watching, and I will talk to you later. Bye now.